The Extinction Protocol. They called Horizon 9 the jewel of the outer colonies. 3 generations of pioneers had transformed the harsh alien landscape into a thriving outpost of humanity. Towering biodomes gleamed under the binary suns, housing over 2 million colonists who had built a life on the edge of explored space. Agricultural sectors produced exotic crops that commanded premium prices across the Sol system, while the planet's unique mineral deposits fueled an economic boom that had lasted nearly 50 years. Governor Elena Reyes stood on her office balcony, watching the morning traffic flow through Horizon City's broad avenues. Children walked to school beneath trees transplanted from Earth, their laughter carrying on the artificial breeze. Miners and farmers mingled with scientists and artists in a community that had become more than just a colonial outpost. It had become home. "Governor, the quarterly production report is ready for your review," her assistant said, offering a data slate. Elena smiled. "Let me guess, another record harvest. 15% above projections. The new agricultural domes are exceeding expectations." The governor nodded with satisfaction. Horizon 9 was thriving, a testament to human perseverance and ingenuity. The colony had overcome early hardships, alien bacteria that attacked their first crops, unexplained magnetic anomalies that disrupted communications, and even a period of unexplained seismic activity that nearly led to evacuation. But they had adapted, survived, and flourished. She had no way of knowing that in less than 12 hours, Horizon 9 would cease to exist. The anomaly appeared at the edge of the system at 2:17 local time. The automated defense grid logged it as an unusual gravimetric distortion, possibly a sensor malfunction. By the time the night shift technician realized it was an unregistered ship of immense proportions, the vessel had already bypassed the early warning beacons. "Unidentified vessel. This is Horizon 9 Control. You have entered restricted space. Identify yourself immediately," the communications officer broadcast on all frequencies. No response came. The vessel, if it could be called that, defied conventional design. Nearly 8 kilometers in length, it resembled an elongated obsidian shard, absorbing rather than reflecting light. No visible propulsion system, no recognizable weapons arrays, nothing that indicated its builders shared any engineering principles with humanity. Colonel Marcus Davis, head of Horizon 9's modest defense force, ordered an emergency alert. "Get the governor. Wake everyone. I want evacuation protocols initiated and the civilian shelters activated." "Sir, it's changing course," a sensor operator reported, voice tight with fear. "It's on a direct vector for the colony." Davis opened a direct channel to Earth, knowing the transmission would take hours to reach Sol. "This is Horizon 9 Defense. We have detected an unknown alien vessel approaching our position. No communication established. Request immediate." The message was never completed. The alien ship did not fire conventional weapons. There was no bombardment, no invasion force, nothing that humans had prepared for in their defense scenarios. Instead, the vessel emitted a wave of energy unlike anything recorded in human history, a ripple that distorted the fabric of space-time itself. In the colony's final moments, gravity fluctuated wildly. Buildings twisted as fundamental forces rewrote themselves. Matter began to break down at the atomic level, converting to energy in a cascading wave of destruction that swept across the planet's surface. 2 million lives were extinguished in minutes, their bodies disintegrating into component atoms before they could even register pain. Horizon 9 wasn't just attacked, it was erased. The alien vessel lingered for precisely 17 minutes after the colony's destruction, seemingly observing the results of its attack. Then, with no detectable energy signature, it vanished from the system as mysteriously as it had arrived. 3 days later, the regular supply ship SSV Jakarta entered Horizon 9's orbit, expecting the usual warm welcome from colonial control. Instead, they found a graveyard. Where a thriving colony had stood, only a scorched crater remained, spanning nearly 300 kilometers. The atmosphere was thick with particulate matter. the molecular remnants of 2 million human beings and everything they had built. "My God," Captain Ishida whispered, staring at the sensor readings. "There's nothing left." The Jakarta's communications officer, trembling, sent the most important message of her career. The 4 words that would forever change humanity's place in the galaxy. Horizon 9 is gone. Exterminated. On Earth, the response was swift and unified. For the first time in centuries, nations and corporate entities set aside their differences. The United Earth Defense Council convened an emergency session, and within 48 hours, the most extensive military mobilization in human history began. Admiral Constance Way, a veteran of the Mars separatist conflict, was appointed Supreme Commander of the newly formed United Defense Fleet. Her first order was direct and uncompromising. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier. We will find whoever did this, and we will show them exactly what happens when you attack humanity. The industrial capacity of the entire Sol system shifted to war production overnight. Orbital shipyards from Earth to Saturn's rings operated at maximum capacity. Mining operations in the asteroid belt doubled output, sending raw materials to fabrication centers. Civilian vessels were retrofitted with weapons systems, and mothballed military ships were rapidly recommissioned. But humanity's greatest weapon wasn't its ships or its guns. It was its rage. They thought they could erase us, and we would cower. President Adama declared in an address that reached every human settlement from Mercury to the Kuiper Belt colonies. They thought we would hide. Instead, we will show them that humanity does not break. We strike back. The United Defense Fleet grew at a pace that defied all projections. Within 8 months, over 700,000 warships had been constructed or converted, from nimble fighters to massive dreadnoughts. But the crown jewels of the fleet were the mechanized response units, the MRUs. Dr. Sanjay Kapoor, the architect of the MRU program, presented his creation to the Defense Council with barely contained excitement. Each MRU stands 20 meters tall, powered by fusion cores, armored with carbon-titanium alloy that can withstand direct energy weapon strikes. They're piloted by a combination of AI and human operators through neural interfaces, giving them both the precision of a machine and the intuition of a human. "And how many can we deploy?" Admiral Way asked. Kapoor smiled grimly. 1 million, Admiral. 1 million harbingers of humanity's vengeance. While the fleet prepared, intelligence assets scoured the void for any sign of the attackers. Courier ships carried sensor data from Horizon 9 to every scientific outpost in human space. Analysis of the residual energy patterns eventually yielded results. Dr. Elisa Santos, head of Cenophysics at the Lunar Observatory, made the breakthrough. The energy signature is unique, a form of controlled quantum disruption that essentially unravels matter at the subatomic level. We've detected faint traces of similar radiation from an unexplored system designated NGC 4371, approximately 27 light-years from Horizon 9. Admiral Way stood before a holographic map of the target system, surrounded by her command staff. "This is it. This is where they came from." The system has 3 planets capable of supporting their biology, based on atmospheric analysis. Her science officer reported. "The largest energy signatures come from the second planet." "Then that's our primary target," Way declared. "We'll deploy the fleet in 3 waves. First, reconnaissance and perimeter security. Second, the main battle groups to engage their defenses. Third, the MRU carriers for planetary assault." She studied the faces of her officers, men and women who represented the finest military minds from across human space. They struck without warning, without declaration, without mercy. They eliminated an entire colony not in battle, but in execution. Remember that. Remember the 2 million souls of Horizon 9 who never had a chance to fight back. Her voice hardened. "We will give them no such courtesy." The fleet departed from various points across the Sol system, converging at the designated jump point beyond Neptune's orbit. It was the largest congregation of military might ever assembled by human hands, a testament to humanity's resolve and its industrial capacity. Admiral Way stood on the bridge of her flagship, the UDF Retribution, watching as the formation took shape. The vast armada stretched as far as sensors could detect, a steel constellation crafted for a single purpose: vengeance. All vessels report ready, Admiral, her executive officer announced. We nodded, her expression solemn. Send the fleet-wide transmission. Across 700,000 ships, crews fell silent as Admiral Way's face appeared on their screens. Men and women of the United Defense Fleet, today we embark on a mission unlike any in human history. We do not seek conquest. We do not seek resources. We seek justice for our fallen brothers and sisters of Horizon 9. Let this day mark the beginning of a new understanding throughout the galaxy, that humanity stands united, that we protect our own, and that any attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. She paused, her eyes reflecting the determination that burned within every soldier under her command. They erased one colony. We respond with the might of our entire civilization. Jump when ready. For Horizon 9. For humanity. Throughout the Armada, FTL drives engaged in perfect synchronization. Space folded around the fleet, and 700,000 warships vanished into the void, carrying with them humanity's answer to extinction. Operation Steel Rain. The United Defense Fleet emerged from FTL in perfect formation, a maneuver that would have been impossible just months earlier. The target system bloomed on sensor arrays, 3 habitable worlds orbiting an orange dwarf star. But it was the second planet that commanded attention, a gleaming azure sphere wrapped in artificial structures that extended into orbit. Full sensor sweep, Admiral Way ordered, her voice steady despite the tension that gripped the bridge. I want to know everything about their defenses before we commit. The alien civilization, the Nixveri, according to the limited intelligence gathered, had built a world-spanning network of cities interconnected by elevated transport systems. Massive orbital platforms hung in geosynchronous positions, linked to the surface by space elevators. Energy readings suggested an advanced technological civilization, possibly centuries beyond humanity's development. But they had made one critical mistake. They had attacked humans. Detecting multiple vessel launches from the orbital platforms, the tactical officer reported. Estimate 3,000 ships, varying configurations. Admiral Way studied the holographic display. 3,000 against 700,000. They're either supremely confident or they don't understand what they've provoked. The alien vessels approached in a geometric formation, their hulls reflecting the starlight with an iridescent shimmer. They were beautiful in their alien design, curved, almost organic shapes that moved with unnatural grace. They're broadcasting something, the communications officer announced. It appears to be a message, but not on any frequency we typically monitor. The AI is attempting to decode. Moments later, a voice filled the bridge, synthesized by the translation software, but carrying the unmistakable tone of condescension. Primitive species, you have violated the sovereign space of the Nixveri Dominion. Your presence suggests a failure to comprehend our previous message. The elimination of your outlying settlement was merciful, a demonstration of our power, and a warning to contain your expansion. Retreat now, and we may permit your species to continue existing within your home system. Admiral Way's expression didn't change, but her knuckles whitened as she gripped the command console. Send our response. The communications officer nodded, opening the channel. This is Admiral Constance Way of the United Defense Fleet. We received your message when you slaughtered 2 million innocent civilians. Here is our reply. She nodded to her tactical officer. Execute Phase 1. 10,000 accelerator cannons fired simultaneously from the Vanguard ships. Hypervelocity projectiles crossed the void at a significant fraction of light speed, giving the alien vessels barely seconds to react. Their defensive screens flared brilliant blue as they attempted to disperse the incoming kinetic energy. Some succeeded. Many did not. The first wave of alien ships broke apart, their elegant forms reduced to expanding clouds of debris. The remaining vessels regrouped quickly, demonstrating a level of coordination that suggested either exceptional training or a hive-mind command structure. Their returning fire, the tactical officer reported as energy beams lanced from the alien ships, connecting with the human vanguard. 5 UDF destroyers vanished in blossoming explosions, their crews having no time to evacuate. The alien weapons utilized the same quantum disruption technology that had erased Horizon 9, though at a smaller scale. All units execute evasive pattern Delta. Way ordered. Deploy countermeasure drones. Phase 2 begins now. The human fleet shifted formation, creating a three-dimensional lattice that maximized firing angles while dispersing targets. From the carriers in the rear echelon, swarms of automated drones launched, each programmed to absorb and analyze energy signatures, creating a protective screen that would buy the fleet precious time to adapt. The second wave of attack commenced as railgun batteries and missile pods unleashed a barrage that saturated the space between the fleets. The Nyx-Veri vessels demonstrated remarkable agility, weaving through the assault with movements that seemed to defy inertia. Yet their numbers were finite, and humanity's weapons nearly infinite. More alien ships disintegrated under the relentless assault, but the cost was high. For every Nyx-Veri vessel destroyed, humans lost 3 of their own. The quantum disruption beams penetrated shields that had been designed to counter conventional weapons, vaporizing hulls and crews in microseconds. Adaptive shielding is coming online, the engineering officer reported. The drones are mapping their weapon frequencies, effectiveness increasing by 12% per minute. Admiral Wei nodded. Maintain pressure. Prepare the MRU carriers for atmospheric insertion. The battle in orbit evolved into a deadly dance, human numbers and adaptability against Nyx-Veri technological superiority. Hours passed as the void filled with the silent explosions of dying ships from both sides. The initial Nyx-Veri force was decimated, but reinforcements continued to rise from the planet's surface. Then the defenders made a tactical error. As their orbital platforms began to fall under human bombardment, they consolidated their forces to protect specific installations, creating concentrated targets for the next phase of humanity's assault. All carriers, commence Operation Steel Rain, Admiral Wei commanded. Defensive screen to maximum. Nothing stops those dropships. 100 massive carriers broke from the main formation, accelerating toward the planet. Point defense batteries created a wall of fire that intercepted incoming Nyx-Veri attacks, sacrificing themselves to ensure the carriers reached deployment altitude. The drop began. 10,000 MRU transports plunged through the atmosphere, their heat shields glowing white-hot as they descended at terminal velocity. Nyx-Veri defense towers tracked the incoming threat, filling the sky with energy pulses that claimed hundreds of transports. But they couldn't stop them all. The first wave of mechanized response units hit the surface in a coordinated landing that shook the continent. Armored pods cracked open to reveal 20-meter-tall mechanical warriors, each representing the pinnacle of human military engineering. 1 million MRUs activated in unison, their sensor arrays mapping the alien landscape and identifying tactical objectives. Through neural interfaces, human pilots merged consciousness with the machines, their minds protected within the heavily armored central chambers. The MRUs moved with a fluid grace that belied their massive size, advancing toward the nearest Nyx-Veri strongholds with implacable purpose. The alien defenders responded with ground forces of their own, hovering platforms carrying energy weapons that could slice through conventional armor. But the MRUs weren't conventional. Their adaptive shielding, informed by data from the orbital battle, deflected most attacks. When shields failed, the carbon-titanium armor absorbed tremendous punishment before yielding, and the MRUs hit back, hard. Railguns mounted on their shoulders accelerated projectiles to hypersonic velocities, punching through Nyx-Veri defenses. Plasma casters built into their forearms reduced alien structures to molten slag. The ground battle quickly devolved into urban warfare on an unprecedented scale, with city blocks reduced to rubble under the mechanical onslaught. In orbit, Admiral Wei monitored the assault through the neural network that connected the fleet to the ground forces. "They're falling back to central defensive positions," she observed. "Directive to all MRU commanders. Push forward. No respite." The HFY fought with increasing desperation as the human forces advanced inexorably toward their primary command centers. Civilian structures were largely avoided. Humanity had come for justice, not genocide, but military installations were systematically destroyed. Then, as the battle entered its 14th hour, the HFY deployed their ultimate weapon. Rising from beneath the planet's surface, a structure the size of a small mountain emerged, a particle accelerator of impossible scale, designed to channel the quantum disruption effect into a planet-killing beam. "All units, priority target identified. Y broadcast. Neutralize that weapon at all costs." The MRU forces converged on the new threat, but the HFY defenders fought with renewed vigor, sacrificing themselves by the thousands to protect the superweapon. Energy began to coalesce at the accelerator's focal point, a swirling vortex of destructive potential that would wipe out the human fleet if allowed to discharge. Dr. Kapoor's voice broke through on the command channel. "Admiral, we've analyzed the weapon. It's drawing power directly from the planet's core. If we overload it, the feedback will." "Understood, Doctor," Wei interrupted. "Special Tactics MRU units, deploy the NOVA charges." From the heart of the mechanized force, a specialized contingent broke away. 100 MRUs carrying specialized nuclear penetrator weapons. They fought through the densest HFY resistance, accepting catastrophic damage to reach their objective. As the superweapon's energy buildup reached critical levels, the NOVA units reached their designated positions around its base. Working with synchronized precision, they planted their charges at structural weak points identified by the fleet's analysis. "Charges set," reported the lead NOVA commander, her MRU missing an arm and leaking hydraulic fluid from multiple breaches. "Detonation in 30 seconds. All units clear the blast radius." The NOVA team withdrew as the countdown proceeded, pursued by desperate HFY forces who seemed to understand what was about to happen. Some of the MRUs didn't make it, caught by concentrated fire or sacrificing themselves to ensure their companions escaped. The NOVA charges detonated in perfect sequence, the explosions channeling their force inward rather than outward. The superweapon's structure collapsed, its power regulators failing catastrophically. The energy it had accumulated had nowhere to go except back into the generation systems. The resulting implosion created a crater 15 kilometers wide. The shockwave flattened everything within a 100-kilometer radius, while the electromagnetic pulse disabled HFY systems across the hemisphere. In the sudden silence that followed, Admiral Wei opened a broadcast channel that reached every functioning HFY communication system on the planet. "This is Admiral Constance Wei of the United Defense Fleet. Your superweapon is destroyed. Your orbital defenses are neutralized. 1 million mechanized response units stand ready to continue this assault until nothing remains of your civilization. But unlike you, we do not destroy without purpose or eliminate without cause." She paused, allowing the translation to reach its audience. "The colony you erased was called Horizon 9. It was home to 2 million humans, scientists, farmers, teachers, children. They posed no threat to you. They were not expanding toward your territory. They were simply living." Her voice hardened. "Now you understand what we are capable of. Now you understand that humanity does not stand alone. We stand together. This is your one opportunity to prevent further destruction. Surrender and prepare to receive our diplomatic delegation. We will establish boundaries. We will create protocols for communication, and you will never again attack a human settlement." The response came 12 minutes later, a simple text transmission in crudely translated human language. "We accept terms. The violence ends." In the days that followed, humanity established its first interstellar peace treaty. The HFY Dominion, it was discovered, had destroyed Horizon 9 out of fear. Their long-range sensors had detected unusual energy signatures from human FTL experiments that resembled an ancient enemy they had nearly been destroyed by centuries earlier. They had struck first, assuming humanity represented an existential threat. They had gravely miscalculated. The treaty established buffer zones between human and Nyx space, communication protocols to prevent future misunderstandings, and reparations for the loss of Horizon 9. More importantly, it established humanity as a force to be reckoned with in the galactic community. As the United Defense Fleet prepared to return to Sol, Admiral Wei stood in the observation deck of the Retribution, watching the last MRU transports ascend from the planet's surface. Was it worth it? Her executive officer asked quietly. The lives lost to secure this peace. Wei considered the question carefully before responding. The people of Horizon 9 never had a chance to defend themselves. Every soldier in this fleet volunteered knowing the risks. We didn't just avenge our dead today. We ensured that humanity will never be seen as easy prey. She turned from the viewport, her expression resolute. Send word to Earth. One colony was destroyed, and humanity answered with 700,000 warships. Let the galaxy remember that always. Throughout human space, the message spread, not just of victory, but of unity. The stars had proven dangerous, but humanity had proven more dangerous still. Whatever waited in the darkness beyond, humanity would face it together, and they would not be erased.